John McCain is weighing in today on the increasingly frosty relations between the United States and Russia. President Obama, of course, canceled an upcoming one-on-one meeting with Vladimir Putin over the Edward Snowden saga. Senator McCain put his feelings towards Snowden's asylum in no uncertain terms.
Clearly, Mr. Snowden's being granted asylum in Russia is a signal of incredibly bad relations between the United States and Russia, and Mr. Putin putting his thumb right in America's eye.
Joining me now, Democratic Congressman Engel, ranking member of the Foreign Affairs Committee. And with a welcome to you, sir. It's nice to have you back here in studio. Can you offer a perspective here on this current situation in U.S.-Soviet relations? Is this a new low, or just put it in perspective?
Well, it's pretty low. It's unfortunate, I think, but Mr. Putin knows just what he's doing, and he made the decision that he apparently didn't care or even wanted relations to deteriorate. I think his decision to grant Snowden asylum is outrageous, and I think he had to know that it would have negative effect on our relations. The question is, how do we react? It's clear that Russia for a long time now has been an adversary in many ways of the United States, blocking us in the United Nations when we attempt to have resolutions on Syria or Iran. Not supporting things that President Obama has thought that we should do. The question, though, is how do we react? And I think that's what the president's trying to do. He's trying to be balanced. He canceled a meeting that he was to have with Putin, which I think was a good thing. And we have to then see what other things we can do.
But overall, you've given some examples. I mean, is that why this matters? I'm curious what the strategic impact is with a fractured relationship with Russia.
Well, again, Russia's an important country, and, you know, they are helping us in Afghanistan. They have been helpful in some ways, but we have tried to be helpful to Putin's sensitivities or sensibilities. I think we should be a lot less caring about what Putin thinks and do what we think is right. For instance, Russia, particularly under Putin, has an abysmal human rights record. The LGBT community is all up in arms. They've passed legislation essentially making anyone who supports gay rights can be subject to being arrested and tried. And I think we need to be a lot more vocal about these policies.
So, okay, you put some perspective here by giving these kinds of policies. Compare that to Edward Snowden. Is he worth all of this hoopla over him?
Well, it's only worth it because the President Obama had asked Putin not to do this, and Putin used, in essence,
defied him.
In essence, he used Snowden for whatever reason he thought, but to use Snowden to defy, and that's a good word, to defy the president. So I think that we have to really respond in kind. You know, when we decide what's important to us, again, Putin's sensitivities were factored in. I think they need not be factored in anymore. When we make a decision about human rights or missile defense or anything like that, we need to do what's good for us and not worry what Putin thinks.
But is all of this optics? Is it a kind of saber rattling? Because we know that Secretaries Kerry as well as Hagel, they're going to be meeting with their Russian counterparts.
Yes, and that's where I say, you know, you go a certain length, you don't cut off your nose to spite your face. There has to still be an ongoing relationship with Russia. There has to still be some cooperation. But I think that any illusion that we had that somehow or other Putin wouldn't show his old KGB self, I think that's eliminated.
What about the talk that, I should say, we were discussing it in our commercial break, the talk of the United States boycotting the Sochi Olympics there in Russia because of all of this, to make a statement?
Well, I wouldn't be in favor of that. I think boycotting the Olympics, you know, that was done back in 1980. We boycotted Russia. Russia boycotted us in 1984 when we had the Olympics. I think this tit for tat with the Olympics is a bit silly. The Olympics is supposed to be politics removed. I know it's not true, but I don't think we should add to it. There are plenty of things that we could do to show our displeasure with Russia and with Putin in particular, other than boycott the Olympics. I think the president's right about that.
Well, you know, there's there's something to say what winning medals. I mean, that kind of makes a powerful statement right there. I mean, it's kind of the best revenge, right? It's a sweet revenge.
I think so, and I think that there are ways that at the Olympics and other places we can protest Russia's human rights record. There are things we can do, and we should do those things. But I think that boycotting the Olympics is probably not the best way to go. But we need to do things to show Putin that we are dissatisfied. You know, there's moves that he's made in Eastern Europe, with Georgia, with other countries. We now need to do what's in our best interest and not worry about Putin.
Okay, Representative Elliot Engel, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.